Now, after you gave him that number, Phosphorus case 636, 10 of 2014, then whatever says to you, where is the accused? Not so.
I recall, my lord, I don't know how the conversation really went because I can't remember verbatim. What I do recall is that he made a request that the accused must be kept, must be booked. His specific request to me is that he must be booked, not just kept. He must be booked in the holding cells of Albertine SAPS, and he will do the arrangements moving forward. And that is why I asked then Sergeant Mukhani to assist with this movement, my lord. That's the content of our conversation.
That's not in dispute, Brigadier. At that moment, the accused is in detention at Filaria and Pretoria, not so?
That is correct, my lord.
Thank you. And he says to you, Brigadier, can you please arrange that the accused should be detained at Albertine police station, where I would go see him, not so?
No, it's not flowing like that, my lord. It's not a question where he said remove him from Valeria SAPS, because I don't think we even got there. And it was the same principle with Colonel Mboto. When he said I can assist, bring the accused at this place. They don't worry where the person is coming from. They're assuming you're in control of the person. They just indicate where it will be convenient. So with Colonel Khadebe, the understanding was that he wants the accused to be detained, and then he will do the booking of the accused out. And that's all that's requested. As to where the person was, I don't think we got there, my lord. What was prevalent is that he's willing to assist, and he wants the accused person, accused number one, to be taken to Alberton, detained. He never gave me the reason why he wants to do it like that and why he chose Alberton, but that's the request, and I complied with that.
So that's the cross-examination there again by Advocate Mnisi, and this time around Advocate Mnisi was concentrating on how Mosivia was handled after he was arrested, and Brigadier Kininda was saying he doesn't know anything about how he was handled. So there was a request for Mosivia to be booked in some holding cells. So what Advocate Mnisi was trying to get were the motivations behind the choice of this location. However, Kininda ran away and said that he did not inquire about the reason for that specific request. So that in itself, somebody can see it as like a lapse in due diligence. So there is a gap, and this gap is in that Brigadier Kininda was not thorough in his inquiries, and there are these gaps, in understanding the context of the actions of the police officer who sent Moses Sevilla to those holding cells. Obviously, this isn't something big enough to affect like the integrity of the entire investigation, but it's just something small, some small detail there. It shows us that there was kind of a miscommunication between the officers, as they did not fully understand each other's intentions. So this aspect is very critical, because it can affect the outcome of a case, because failing to question certain decisions, it can lead to potential procedural errors. So detained, the word that was being mentioned by Kininda here, it means that the accused was taken into custody by the police, but not necessarily charged. So it often refers, to that period before or shortly after arrest, during the investigations. And the holding cells are those temporary jail cells. Inside police stations, there are short-term confinement areas used before someone is transferred either to prison, court, or another facility. But why does this matter so much in the Senzo Meyiwa trial, where Moses was sent to in those detention cells, it matters a lot, for two main reasons. And the first reason being that there are allegations of assault in coerced confessions. And in this entire cross-examination from 4 June 2025, that is what Advocate Mnisi was mostly concentrated on, because there are these claims that Moses was assaulted and tortured by the police to force confessions. So if someone is kept in a specific station's holding cells, it raises questions like why that station, who had access to them, were proper procedures even followed. So if the location was deliberately chosen to isolate the accused or to avoid oversight, that could support claims of abuse or irregularity. So in this case, Gininda didn't ask why Auberton was selected. So that then gets suspicious to the defense, who are arguing, Advocate Mnisi trying to argue that it shows a lack of transparency or an attempt to hide misconduct. And the second reason being the chain of custody and legal processes integrity. Those detention procedures are part of chain of custody. The official record shows how suspects and evidence were handled. If the detention location was chosen without clear documentation or explanation, it creates a gap in accountability. And a gap like that might allow tampering with evidence, coerced confessions, witness intimidation. And that is what the defense is trying to exploit here, this gap, to say that you left this gap, Gininda, you did not question these questions. And my client here, Moses, is saying he was tortured. So this definitely happened because you did not do your due diligence. So that's the bottom line here. The choice of where and how someone was detained, it isn't just about logistics. It reveals an intent to protect the accused's rights or an opportunity for abuse and manipulation. So here, those holding cell locations matter because it could be linked to how the confessions were extracted and whether those confessions were lawfully obtained or forced. So in this specific cross-examination, Advocate Mnisi definitely did expose some procedural laziness by Gininda not asking those questions, more of like being careless. Not careless isn't careless, but just slightly, being careless. He maintained the pressure and asked, some questions. However, at the same time, Advocate Mnisi also fell short, because he's revisiting settled ground. So this is something that was settled in the trial, within a trial, these confession statements. So there's only so far he can go without looking like he's trying to litigate a lost battle. So he definitely didn't land a knockout blow. And I feel like he is kind of like clutching at straws on this one. It's what I'm seeing, And for progress sake, this specific aspect is just one thing that he just has to let go and move on to other issues that he can cross-examine. I'll catch you guys on the next one.